When trying to fix your pain, it's not as simple as stretching a tight muscle and strengthening a weak muscle. Because when we have an activity, for example, where our head should be over our shoulders, we're supposed to use certain muscles that engage the proper way. But too often we have muscles that compensatorily engage when we're not supposed to. Very often when patients are even trying to approach a desk, they're already using the muscles that lift their shoulder blades. Why is that? Whenever we go through any activity, our brain is always watching. Whenever I take a step or move my body, there's constant afferent information coming from our muscles and also our smooth muscles of our gut, our skin cells, all of our organs. They all send feedback to our brain to pretty much tell us how things are going. This sensory feedback is vital for the brain to then understand what to do next. It then sends out messages, motor system messages to our organs, our skin, all of our systems, including our muscles, to have them fire and do the appropriate action based on the sensory input. So we're always engaging and reacting based on the information we're being fed. So what do you think happens if we're being fed the wrong information? I truly don't believe that practice makes perfect. It's perfect practice makes perfect. Because if you do the wrong thing over and over and over again, you're creating a new improper pattern that is now becoming the mainstay. For example, when we approach the desk, if we're commonly using a laptop, using our phone, and just in the habit of looking down all the time, when we approach the computer or source, we're already engaging improper muscles. The SCM muscles, the muscles that are supposed to turn your head, are now firing just to help lift your shoulder blades up and keep you perched at the computer. But that's not what's supposed to happen. The deep neck flexor muscles of the neck are supposed to engage first to help stabilize the chin and protect the neck and the upper back. But what happens is after so many times of approaching that desk, of getting used to that poor posture because we're getting tired, we're fatigued, we're not supposed to be at the computer this long, the wrong muscles create a new poor pattern. Feeding the brain with sensory information, that's the wrong message. So now it becomes the mainstay, and we have to not only strengthen muscles that are supposed to fire, we have to quiet down the muscles that are talking when they're not supposed to. And that's one of the big missteps that we do, is that we don't teach how to disengage the overactive compensatory muscles. So a couple of examples that I want you to do right off the bat. One thing is that when you go home tonight and you're driving, when you're in the car, every time you're at a stoplight, you want to do what's called a chin tuck, where you bring your body against the car seat, and very safely, of course, when the car is stopped, not when it's driving, you want to push your head and press it against that car seat, tucking your chin like a turkey neck and pushing back to engage the back of the neck and to engage the chin so it stays in the proper position. And then as you do that, you breathe out and you hold for 5-second holds, and then you relax. You have to make sure your shoulders are relaxed, and again breathe in and exhale as you push your head back against the car seat, and you squeeze and hold, engaging the weak muscles, the deep neck flexor muscles, and not allowing your upper back and shoulders to lift. You have to approach the computer as another example, where you take your shoulders and you just wiggle them a little bit and you pull them up, back, and down to relax them, and then you set your hand position to help as best you can quiet and calm those muscles down that shouldn't be firing. Then pull your head back and do a chin tuck to engage the neck. Same thing, hold 5 seconds at a time and relax. You can even take your hands, interlace them just like you were doing against the car seat, and you can breathe out and push and squeeze and hold against your own hands for 5-second holds. Now, a proper chin tuck, you actually are pulling your chin in and then relaxing it. The head should come over the shoulders. We want to find multiple times a day to engage these muscles during all the poor patterning habits that we tend to do a lot. So that means when you're in the car, that means when you're at the desk, even when you're at the dinner table, we tend to just round our bodies over it. So the other key to this is not just about engaging the proper muscles, quieting the other muscles that shouldn't be firing. but it's also about making it a habit loop, making the brain understand that the right muscles are supposed to be firing all the time. So looking at multiple times a day, not to try and say I'm going to exercise and do these 3 sets of whatever. No, I'm going to find different parts of my day to infuse that habit so it becomes part of my day. It doesn't become a nuisance. It doesn't become extra. The real goal of life is to incorporate these things into our daily function so we can actually see a real change over time, because it's not going to change doing the same thing expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity. So we think about a few things, a couple of times during the day, to start injecting chin tucks and other postural exercises into our habits. But it doesn't stop there. We still haven't done enough to quiet down and engage the proper muscles and quiet the compensatory muscles down. One other aspect for specifically the neck is that the shoulders always want to rise. They want to engage with the trap muscles that they're now stuck with and becoming one like a turtle shell. So besides engaging the inner core of the neck, the deep neck flexor muscles, you also want to do things to get range of motion back to the shoulder blades. We're going to go over this in very grave detail in our upcoming 7 complete series for neck pain and how to get rid of it. But real quick, one thing that we can do is go against a wall. We're going to do a scapular wall slide up, where I take my shoulder blades, I'm going to actually round them and keep the forearms against a wall. I want to be close enough that I can actually round my back so my shoulder blades are a little bit pulled away from my upper thoracic, and then I'm going to slowly try to increase the range of motion of my arms while still having my scapulas protracted and rounded. And I come down slowly, still keeping the pressure against my forearms. And then I start again, breathing out, leaning against the wall, trying to lift and move my shoulder blades in this protracted position against an immovable object. What that's doing is it's allowing range of motion to occur in my shoulder blades without my neck firing, without my traps lifting. The goal is to free the scapula. I joke, but it is true. You have to get better range of motion in the shoulder blade away from this tension in the upper back to free the neck and to free the shoulder blade so that they're actually working independently the way they're supposed to. So some of these concepts, if it's the first time you're hearing this, and understanding that it's more than just strengthen and stretch, and it's really about habit building, please like and subscribe to our channel and look at more videos coming to the future of how we can actually inject this into our real life, stop making routines and rehab protocols, and actually just make life more functional naturally. That's our goal, that's my channel, and thank you so much for watching.